And we're live. Welcome everybody here to the Lakers Lounge. I'm Anthony Irwin here with this live edition recapping day one of free agency. For the first time in a minute, it feels like the Lakers have most of their work kind of done. I don't have to sit here and wait for all of the weekend, a long weekend, to figure out what the hell the Lakers roster is going to look like. Aaron has multiple phones in his hand, going full Joe Dumars.
Yeah. Is that
full,
the meme?
Paul Pierce, right? Full Paul Pierce. Well, maybe not full Paul Pierce. You don't have a girl for hire in the background. I'm also
not presently. No,
I'm also joined by Raj Chapalu, who I haven't spoken to since the playoffs. How you doing, Raj? You doing all right? I feel like this is your least favorite day of the year. I feel like you're just a walking stress ball all day.
Yeah, well, actually, you guys been to Yard House? I was at Yard House 30 minutes ago.
We're at the LA Live?
Did you have a yard?
No. In Riverside, where I live. Yeah.
Well, you back at your spot? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, it's one of my favorite spots actually. They have really great food and stuff. So, I ran home though to come on here and be excited about the Lakers signing. So. I'm excited. And Summer League in a few days, which, I'm excited about that as well. Lakers play on Monday, so the basketball returns.
All right. I'm going to try not to throw
Raj,
too
will
much
you be joining Summer League? Are you coming to Vegas?
I am absolutely to Vegas.
Are you playing?
That a boy.
Next Friday, I will definitely be there.
I will give you your first alcoholic beverage in Vegas. It'll be your first one.
Okay. Nice.
I'm going to take your, you know what? I'm going to give you your first drink.
Easy.
We're going to do nothing but listen to Drake, watch old
2 minutes in and we have an HR violation. Hey, speaking of Drake, freaking Fred VanVleet got the bag. Started from the literal bottom. Now he's here. Holy shit.
Yeah, which was... God, see, I already just, you know what? I'll just start this. You guys got it. I thought it was interesting. It's interesting because because it took them a little longer to theoretically announce stuff that may or may not be happening because nothing can happen for the next 7 days. I thought it was very interesting because Houston was the last place that some guys later on in the process that had not theoretically agreed could use as leverage. And then that cap space disappeared there very quickly. So some guys had to scurry back to their previous destinations because that cap space dried up very quickly.
He's like their Luol Deng, right? Aren't they in the situation we were in 2017, kind of they have their Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, Lonzo Ball, and this is the bridge player. I don't know if you have to give VanVleet that much money, but it feels like that's their bridge guy. I just don't understand because he plays the same position as their guard, so that didn't make sense. But he's their
Houston very much has needed an adult, an adult in the room, and somebody kind of just to organize everything they've got going. And it has been my opinion for now a couple years that Alperen Şengün is their best player and who they should run all of their offense through. And because they've had nothing but chuckers, young chuckers, guys that probably will develop into some real good players, and other than just straight up scorers, I think they need somebody just to kind of orchestrate and get everything together. They should have been, in my opinion, running their offense through Şengün for the last couple of years anyway. But they have badly needed an adult in the room, as Coach Pete likes to say.
Yeah,
and you need to get him away from his incumbent team. Sometimes you just have to overpay, and I was surprised it was 3 years because that takes them into the future a little bit more than I thought they were going to with the amount of money that they had to spend. But you know what? Y'all go ahead before I get myself in trouble.
All right, we can talk about league stuff when Aaron is no longer here, potentially in 30 minutes. I do huge day for the Lakers. Absolutely monstrous day for the Lakers as they fill out their roster. Aaron, the last time you and I spoke,
yesterday?
It's 15 minutes ago.
The last time we did a show or the last time we spoke?
Yeah. But the last time we did a show, we told people that the Malik Beasley and Mo Bamba decisions were going to preview the direction that the Lakers were going to go in, right?
Correct.
And we said that if they let those guys walk, that would indicate that the Lakers at that point would be getting ready to utilize their non-taxpayer mid-level exception, their biannual exception, and it would hard cap them, but they would be greater players in free agency this year. I was kind of hoping, especially once we found out that Bruce Brown wasn't coming, which happened fairly quickly. Indiana really moved fast on that one. But as soon as
to be fair, we knew that this morning when Indiana with their trade. That's what their trade.
The Duarte thing.
Mm-hmm. That's what that was. When that happened, it was done.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, "Oh, okay, all right, this is where we're going there."
Yeah.
But yeah, I once it became clear that Bruce Brown wasn't coming, and again, like you're saying, Aaron, the Duarte trade happened. I hopped on here on YouTube live to give my thoughts on some names that were attached to the Lakers, and also threw together a plan that involved not using their full NTMLE and not using their biannual exception that would not hard cap them this year and keep them a little bit more flexible in trades for later in the year. That is not the path that they wound up taking. They instead reportedly wind up, the first signing that was known was Taurean Prince. I am pro a guy named Prince coming from Minnesota. That is normally a good thing. And then the big signing that the Lakers wind up making using seems like most of their non-taxpayer mid-level exception, not all of it. They have some spare change now. If they either want to use it now on a big who wants more than the minimum, or they can use it during the buyout season and have more to offer then when everybody is handing out prorated vet minimum contracts. Those are options that the Lakers have. But that money that they do use of that non-taxpayer mid-level exception winds up going reportedly to Gabe Vincent of the Miami Heat. So, Raj, seeing as Aaron can't talk about specific players until next Thursday, I'm going to start with you. What do you think about those two signings?
Yeah, I like them. I said yesterday there was no way that the Lakers were going to release both of those guys, Mo Bamba and Malik Beasley, without at least having some name in mind, I thought. And the rumors were that they were going to split it, and I'm so glad they didn't. Dennis Schröder, shout out to him, got paid by Toronto.
Paid compared to what I thought he was going to get. Yeah.
Yeah. And, the Lakers actually couldn't even pay him that. He got $13 million a year. The Lakers, non-taxpayer MLE doesn't even go up to that level. But I like it. Gabe Vincent, obviously a guard, Anthony. I know that kind of hurts you a little bit. He's I believe he's listed at like 6'2". He just looks a little more bulkier than that. But he's a playoff gamer.
He's bulky.
Yeah.
The height is a different matter, but he's bulky.
Right.
I don't know very many Gabes who aren't kind of bulky.
Interesting.
Like, I feel like when you name your kid Gabe, they're gonna have some bulk to him. Anyway, go ahead, Raj.
Okay. I don't think I know a Gabe, which is, I know, shocking, but I don't know another.
It's big in the Mexican community. Okay. Gabriel.
All right.
Oh, Gabriel. Okay, I think I know a Gabriel. I know a Gabe. Yeah. No, so like he kind of played the similar role I thought that like Austin had for us, where Miami would give him the ball late game situations and he would run pick and rolls for them. He had like huge shots all throughout the playoffs. Had like a game sealing shot over Tatum in game 2 to kind of seal that one. And I thought, Anthony and Aaron, I thought our biggest like needs obviously was a center, more size, but I thought just like toughness, which is why Bruce Brown was at the top of my list. And I think he got crazy overpaid, $20 million a year for Bruce Brown, which is why I think he's not here. But I thought just toughness at like the guard positions, where, Gabe Vincent isn't obviously huge, but I think he's a guy that doesn't really get rattled, doesn't really get rushed as well. He's a pick and roll ball handler, can score in all types of ways, can run actions. I think he can play make a little bit as well. Shot like 94% from the line and during the playoffs. And I think him and Austin Reeves, I tweeted out like our first team got that dog in them. Like that is that backcourt right there. Those two are extremely tough. So excited about them. And then Taurean Prince just at the Bay, $4 million, 6'7", guy who shot 38% from 3. I think that's a steal at that. I'm seeing the contract getting handed out. I think 4.8 for Taurean Prince is a really nice deal. So I'm excited about those two guys. We'll see how D'Lo's situation plays out, but Gabe Vincent at like $11 million a year, I think that's great value for him.
Are we allowed to mention that he hit 33% of his threes last year?
You're allowed to mention whatever you want.
That makes me nervous.
Okay, sure. But see, you don't get it both ways, or not you specifically, but people, Lakers fans, you don't get it both ways, right? Because everybody is down on D'Lo because he had a not great last series. He was very good in the Memphis series. He was pretty good in the Warriors series, and he was terrible in the Denver series. So the last thing we saw in the playoffs was D'Lo was pretty bad. So if that is going to take away from his regular season, then the inverse has to be true also, right? Because Gabe Vincent was fantastic in the playoffs and made a bunch of shots. So I know that, well, Anthony, I know
that's
you
not
skew,
how I'm not operating.
I know you skew pessimistic about certain things, which is fine. That's
Life.
how you fan. Yeah, that's fine. It's how you fan.
The world that we live in.
Yes, that's fine. But to be fair and to be consistent, if D'Lo is going to get a demerit because he was not good in the playoffs at the end of the playoffs, and that is going to put a stain on what he had done before that, then to be fair, Gabe Vincent was fantastic in the playoffs and made a bunch of shots, and so he should get a merit. I don't know, whatever the opposite of demerit is, a merit, I guess. Yeah, a gold star for his playoff performance. So
yeah,
to be consistent, I don't think you can get it. You don't get it both ways, is my point.
I don't want it both ways. I'm just saying that the larger sample size that we have from him last year was 33% shooting, and that makes me a little nervous. Now,
yeah, but the larger sample size is D'Lo is better than he was as a shooter in the playoffs.
By the way, I'm not one of the people who are saying I don't want D'Lo back. So like you're kind of straw manning me here. Like
no. Again, I was very specific, not you specifically.
Yeah, but
just that is like the Lakers Twitter thing.
Yeah,
not you specifically.
Look, you and I have been saying like all offseason that D'Angelo Russell should be back. I still do want him back. I still think that like him on a $20 million ish contract with a second-year team option or a second-year non-guarantee is still the path forward. That was what Jake Fisher has reported. That's the ballpark that I've been hearing to this point. It might be a little lower now that
let me say this.
It's so depressed because
let me say this, not about D'Lo specifically. But let me say this. The Lakers have as of now, about $37 million under the tax presently. That does not include any of the rookies. Who knows? Max was a second round pick, so he signs for whatever he signs for. But he is not slotted in like JHS, who's 3 and change. So put him in there and it's 33, 34 million under the tax. D'Lo, maybe, who knows? Austin, slot him in. Whether Austin's doesn't matter. Austin is not going to make more than 12.4. So I think that is a number that you guys can look at to say, where does D'Lo slot in theoretically, and of course some minimums to follow, because that's all that's left. But I think it is notable that the Lakers have been able to add to the roster and still not face attack. We were talking earlier about the biannual and the non-taxpayer mid-level both trigger the hard cap. So the Lakers are going to be hard capped this year. But that number is even over the tax line, which the Lakers have some room to operate under before even entering the tax, which is meaningful, especially going into next year with the CBA and the repeater tax and how many years you are over the second threshold, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that is notable.
Aaron, can you confirm or deny reports that there was a collective high five when everybody figured out they were going to be below the tax this year? So weird. I think his no, you didn't freeze. I see the liquid moving. Raj, it sounded like you wanted to get in there as it pertains to Gabe Vincent.
Right. So I was just looking just some context on, his shots. So in his the wide open threes, actually, he did shoot 37% on those.
Okay.
The open one
during the regular season you're talking about.
During the regular season, yes. And obviously in the playoffs, that bloomed. And he's a guy that I think doesn't just relegate himself to wide open threes. He's a guy that when he gets hot, he's more than comfortable with taking step back ones, and he'll take tough shots as well. But I think like on the open shots, I think he's a pretty good shooter. He's at least comfortable enough. He's in the D'Lo, I think is even more streaky than he is. D'Lo will hit like 3 threes in a quarter and be like 0 for 6 in another one. I think Gabe Vincent's a little bit more consistent of a shooter in that way. And I believe in the playoff, run. I think it's strange to say like to compare his and then Austin's as well, to say that one's like a fake or not say you're saying that. I'm just like, when I see those two compared, like when I watched Gabe Vincent, I was thinking like he's their Austin Reeves kind of like he's the guy that, kind of came out of nowhere as their ball handler.
He has cojones, that's for sure.
Yeah, yes. They would put, Bam at the dunker.
Tim McMahon, you're giving him cojones factor?
Oh, yes, yeah. And like I think the Lakers cared about that. I think like toughness and those are stuff tough to quantify. But like when I was going into this offseason, I thought like that was something we needed. And I think we got a guy that kind of fills those shoes. Like he doesn't get rattled. Like you can't ball pressure him. He doesn't shy away from the moment. I'm not picking out any player with those details. I'm just saying like he's a guy that I think you can give the ball to and. He won't be afraid of any type of moment. So I'm excited.
He also gets after it defensively, and the Lakers really needed a point of attack defender. They were going to lose Dennis Schröder. It became, once they signed Vincent, Schröder was gone, and then once Fred VanVleet got the bag from Houston, I'm really happy for Dennis Schröder. I'm just going to come out and say it. I'm really happy that the guy. Obviously, infamously turns down $80 million, falls all the way down to a minimum level player. Aaron, one of the things that you talk about is a lot of guys' reluctance to get bought out because once you get labeled a minimum level player, it is really difficult to dig your way back up to being a not minimum player, more than a minimum player.
Yep.
And so it really says something about the year that Dennis had, both on and off the court, by the way, like not just from a productivity standpoint, but also accepting a backup role, never, ever, ever complaining about coming off of the bench. Like that was, and by the way, had he done that for the Lakers a couple of years ago when they traded for him, I really think that year goes really differently. It's a different subject altogether. I'm not still upset about it, but I this year, really cool story for Dennis, and I wish him the best in Toronto, even though I can't help but kind of smirk because Masai Ujiri, who refuses to trade anything that he has for less than $350 on the dollar, now just lost Fred VanVleet for nothing. And is looking, staring right at a rebuild here. Masai, who I still legitimately think is a really good GM, appears to have dropped the ball here.
Are you sure?
What?
Are you sure he's a really good GM?
Somebody asked me this. I think everybody, and I think almost especially really intelligent people, have blind spots. And I think really intelligent people are more, this is why I'm happy that I'm a moron. I think really intelligent people fall victim to those blind spots more than most, because once you convince yourself that you cannot be wrong, you wind up believing in that stuff. Once you believe your press, it's over. And I really think that he believed his press and has this blind spot. Like his toys, he considers his toys better than all the other toys, and refuses to move off of his toys. And until he gets over this blind spot, I think it's fair. I still think he's really good at his job. I think he has a great eye for talent. I like he and I value the same types of things in basketball players, but this specific blind spot really seems to have bit Toronto in the ass.
Yeah. So you were saying you were alluding to the fact that it's probably time for them to take a different path.
It was 2 years ago.
Not 2 years ago. No, because 2 years ago they were coming off of it. Not 2 years ago. But yes, I think you're probably right. And I think they should be. they have players that have some value around the league. I was about to like say some specific stuff. They have some players that have some value around the league, that have been in, rumored talks for a couple years, but their extension with Gary Trent Jr., the re-signing of Jakob Poeltl, and the signing of Dennis would indicate that that is not the path that they are going to take. And of course, none of those signings, those are all reported. None of those signings are official yet. So obviously things can change, but the amount of money that they have given out, yes, they theoretically are going to lose Fred VanVleet for nothing, which is damaging. But the amount of money that they've committed in new contracts to those three guys would indicate that they are not trying to take a step back. They are full steam ahead. It seems like a fool's errand to me, especially because who is going to be the future of their franchise and who's going to be their best player, Scotty Barnes, pretty soon, is not really on the same timeline as some of these guys.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
I think it's one of those situations where they need to acknowledge what the league is telling them. We talk about this all the time with teams that, like, a team trades a star, and the first thing you always see from a team that trades a star is, we want to remain competitive. We want to, we still want to be where we are right now while we have the star. And it's just like, no,
that's not how it works.
you're trading
a
star in a sport where only 5 guys are playing on your team at any moment. Typically speaking, if you trade away your best player, you are not going to remain at that level. And, they might say that initially, but then really quickly you'll get that rude awakening that the league sends to you. It's like, no. It's you aren't going to be at that same level. And, the Brooklyn Nets come to mind, right? They just traded away this year. They traded away Kevin Durant. They traded away Kyrie Irving. Did they also trade Kevin or Harden this year? I guess last year.
Last year.
That was the Ben Simmons.
So in
I don't know that
2
Ben Simmons has played since, but
in 2 years they've traded James Harden and Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and at every single turn. Now, it's easier to say when you still have Kevin Durant and when you still have Kyrie Irving, but at every single turn we've heard the same thing. We still
I will not
see
stand for this
ourselves
Joe
as
Harris erasure. They traded Joe Harris too.
Yeah, whiteflation, and so but when they finally completely cleared the deck, right? All of those guys are gone. They do go on a bit of a run. They do, they picked up Mikal Bridges, who appears to be really effing good, better than I think even Phoenix thought that he was going to be. They pick up Cam Johnson, who just got paid again today. But also there, really quickly, when they got into the playoffs, the league reminded them, no. You no longer have Kevin Durant. You no longer have Kyrie Irving. You're a cool story, but you're a cute story, and you're going to be gone here in a couple games in the first round. And I think that's where Toronto is heading, where
the playoffs are the ultimate truth teller.
Yeah, it's just like eventually the market is just going to tell you. The market's going to tell you who you are, and I think that's where they kind of stand. What's up, Roger?
Aren't they? I was going to say, aren't they kind of like? I understand it from Brooklyn's perspective because they have no incentive to tank, right? They don't have their picks. I believe
Houston
their picks are all
draft.
Yeah, so their other teams control their draft picks, so they have really no incentive to be bad. So I understand from their perspective to try to build with. And I think Mikal Bridges is a legit star. I think that's a guy you can build around. Cam Johnson, I love that for them. I just love that pairing, and I feel like they can build with that.
Brooklyn, you're saying?
I mean, Brooklyn, sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I think they want to go get Dame, which to me would be a mistake. I feel like trading all that packages for a 34-year-old Dame, who may never leave Portland ever because Jeremy Grant just got paid over there. Yeah. Toronto, though, was Scotty Barnes just too good his rookie year? I feel like that was kind of
fool's gold.
Fool's gold. Yeah, they were way better than they were supposed to be. And they look like geniuses. Masai looked like a genius. Scotty Barnes was picked 4th. I think that was a reach to most people. He came out, I believe, was the rookie of the year that year.
He was, yeah.
And I feel like, I think they had a really good year that year. So that might have just blinded them and took them on this path. But I feel like they should get some blame for losing Fred VanVleet for nothing. Siakam will see Siakam will see what happens. But yeah, I think those two are in different paths, and they're asking, I think, Aaron, you can confirm or not confirm, they're asking for 10 picks and stock for OG Anunoby. So I don't know if that trade
I had to one of my kidneys was requested, and my liver, which I don't know why anybody would want, but my liver was healthy. Also
no,
for my liver in the deal.
They want your liver because it needs to be studied scientifically. That is the greatest liver to have ever lived.
You know what's funny is every time I go in for a physical, they're like, "Oh no, your organs are functioning really well. Your liver's in great shape." I'm like, "Are you sure? Do you want to run that again? Are you sure?"
Yeah, I feel like cool. Your liver is just perpetually the Jimmy Butler, like,
just like hanging on the little half wall, just breathing heavily, bent over. Yeah.
All right.
Cheers to my liver.
Let's. I'm about to serve myself a refill. So I want to talk about the Lakers. The rest of the Lakers moves here. We talked about Gabe Vincent, and again, I would say I'm cautiously optimistic about that. I get why people are excited about it. I get why. I mean, just in general, like anytime their team does something that is like not,
disastrous,
immediately disastrous, people are going to jump to like the optimistic side of things. And I get it. That's fandom. I'm not here to judge anybody for doing it.
Some will, and some will take the very opposite approach.
Me? Is that me?
Again, nobody specific, but that's what fandom is, right? Some people are going to be wildly optimistic about it no matter what. And some people are going to be wildly pessimistic.
The point of being a fan is like it's entertainment. You want feel good with being a fan. I get it. Like I'm not, and by the way, it's why I've kind of toned down the immediate like, no, this is stupid. The only time that I can really recall saying that like, no, this is dumb was Russ. And by the way, guess what? That and letting Caruso walk. Those are the only two times where I was just like, this is just stupid. There's no framing of this that I am okay with. But beyond that, like again, with Vincent, I can see a world where you look at that and Rob looks like a genius because like statistically last year, he isn't worth $13 million over the course of the regular season. Now, if you expand his role, you put him next to some of the guys that he's going to be playing with the Lakers, maybe he starts to look better. And that's where Rob actually gets kind of a discount at $13 million or that is dollar for dollar proper value. But they filled a need there. They did need a point of attack defender. Javon Carter went for $7 million a year, which was crazy to me. And I think, a lot of the useful players this year went for somewhat higher prices than was kind of anticipated. And the Lakers looked at that and were like, all right, fine. We'll do the same with a player that we really like in Gabe Vincent. This happened really quickly, to the best of my knowledge, that this was not somebody I had heard anything about over, the last week or so. This was not a name that was being thrown around in circles at all. And that's why, like, it's really rare when a signing happens and every beat reporter, everybody who pays close attention to a team are just like, what? Excuse me? And that was kind of the response that went about there. And Aaron, I'm not going to ask you for details on that, but until we talk offline.
I will share. I can share this.
Okay.
I would say that 95% of the time, I know something will happen before it happens. There are a few times, there are occasions where I don't. But almost like 99.9% of the time, I at least know conversations about somebody previously. And I didn't know this one until earlier today. But I knew before it happened, but I didn't know his name until today. And usually it's days, weeks, sometimes months in advance. So it was not a surprise to me when it happened, but it was not somebody that I had been briefed on or talked about or knew about before today. So maybe that gives you context.
I want to
know happens.
If it happens, yeah. I want to know.
I didn't mention any names.
Like if I all right, let's do it this way. I'm gonna pull up Gabe Vincent's stats, and I want to know if you guys just hearing what he did last year think that is proper value for Gabe Vincent, because I do think it's fair to wonder about that. And I also the other part of it that I cannot lie, I was not over the moon about was I was looking at Austin as the starting point guard next year. And if Vincent is getting that amount of money, now it's 13 mil with the cap where it is right now, is fine also for a 6-man. So if they bring D'Lo back,
it's 11, not 13. It's 11, not 13.
It's 11.
Oh yeah,
right?
On average, right? On average, right? Isn't it? Anyway.
No, I don't even. Doesn't matter. I think
33.
I think it's 333. I think it's 11 flat.
Okay. All right. So it's so even more to my point then. At $11 million, that can be your backup point guard, right? And and so maybe that's
Trey
the
Jones
prism.
got that in San Antonio. Yes.
Yeah. So maybe that's the prism that I should be looking at this through. But like paying $11 million for 9.5 points a game, 2.5 assists per game, 40% from the field, 33% from 3-point range, 87% from the free throw line, which does indicate, to Raj's point, and the 37% on open 3-pointers is indicative of there being legit shooting touch there. But like, does that jump off the screen to you, Raj? Does that is that any different from like what Dennis Schröder would do in this role?
Dennis Schröder, who got what incidentally?
13 million. Yeah.
There you go.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like, well, because it's being lauded as this like step forward, and I just think it's a lateral step. From where I'm standing, I think it's pretty close to a lateral step from Dennis Schröder to Gabe Vincent.
I think. Sorry, Raj. I think that it is fair to say that to think of them as similar-ish players as far as like who's better. I think that's fair, but I think the Lakers' theoretical signing fits better because what was the thing offensively? What was the thing that we were always on Dennis about like, if he could just right the slow catch and shoot threes,
quicker release. Yep.
Yes, and the hesitancy from Dennis to take those threes was always a thing. And if this signing goes through, that is not going to be the case with the new guy. And the like shrinking from the moment stuff is not going to be the case, right? You mentioned his regular season stats, and they are what they are. But to be able to elevate yourself in the playoffs is a big deal. And if Dennis is in fact gone, if the Dennis signing goes through, combine that with no longer having Pat Bev, no longer having Russ. The Lakers have been missing a bulldog, like the bulldog factor, the force of will factor has been
got that dog in him.
Correct. And frankly, that was a lot of why Tristan Thompson was brought in late last season, was somebody to flip table.
You guys listen to the goon stuff. I like it. Hell yeah. All right.
The Lakers needed somebody to flip tables over at halftime. Without Russ and without Pat Bev, the Lakers needed somebody to flip tables over and get in people's face at halftime. And I don't know enough about a theoretical signing for $11 million as far as the locker room stuff, but at least on the court, it is very evident that what he brings as far as that kind of mentality. And I think that has been something that the Lakers have been missing, especially from the guards.
Yeah, and I still think this team is still built around a LeBron and AD kind of characteristic of this team. Like I still think that's the main way that this team is built. So like I think point guard can kind of be used in different variety. Like I feel like Gabe Vincent again is just an off guard who can run pick and roll. He can attack closeouts. He's is really good attacking a compromised defense, and that's where to me he thrived in Miami off of the attention of Butler and Bam. That's where he was really great. So I think he can do the same stuff here. And like if you watch and I guess it depends how much weight or stock do you put into playoff performances. I put a lot into playoff performances. I think that's one of the reasons that Rui got 3 years, 50. I think that's why, at least theoretically, I thought a team would throw a lot of money at Austin, and I think that works same for Gabe Vincent as well. He had an incredible playoff run, and maybe the shooting isn't going to be as consistent. He shot 51% from 3 against the Celtics. That's obviously not going to continue. But like he shot 41% on catch and shoot threes in the playoffs. Like I think that's probably closer to where he's at, maybe at like 37, 38. But you watch his game, he has a ton of finishes. He's just a lot more crafty to me as a finisher than Dennis is. Dennis has that really slow release that you mentioned, Aaron, and that doesn't just come up from the 3-point line. That comes in the mid-range as well, right? Dennis, when he tries to hit his little mid-range pull-ups, they take like 3 seconds to shoot, which is why like he has to be wide open on those. Gabe Vincent isn't that way. He can operate in that mid kind of area. That's where like he scored a lot for Miami, and he has all the floaters. He drives to the rim a lot more, and he doesn't get blocked as much as Dennis does. He just has a lot bigger of a frame. And again, shooting 94% from the line. Like I think that's just a really nice scoring guard at $11 million as your backup guard. See if Dennis comes back. I just think that's really great value. Now he's super small and all that. But I think he's a good point of attack defender, and like I like the signing.
I think the Lakers just need more dudes with cornrows. I'm in just for that.
Even if it's Justin Timberlake with cornrows?
Yes, sure. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
My hair long enough for that, or no? I don't think my hair's long.
No, not yet. I mean, I can get you braided up though. Keep it growing. I can get you braided up.
Do you think like, when it comes to contracts, Justin Timberlake was like, it's gonna be Bay?
I do not think that. No.
All right.
That was not one of your best efforts.
It was not. No. It's like as it was coming out of my mouth.
You're like, I should abort mission in the middle of it.
Just stop. That's normally where because I'll get kind of a look in my eye when like the joke pops into my head, and Jen will just be like, no, that whatever you're thinking. What's making that face? Shut up.
If you ever get a chance to do that, don't.
Yeah. All right. No, look, if I think of him as the backup guard, no problem. What that entails though is D'Angelo Russell coming back, which sounds like it's still going to happen. What I'm hearing is still in that ballpark of like 20-ish million. Might be a little lower now because there isn't as much money now as there was at the beginning of the offseason. The Lakers also, like, even though there isn't the same amount of money out there, they might not also want to piss him off and make him sulk. So that's going to be a factor here as well. And then also, if you sign him to 20, if you sign him to a number at 20, and it's a $20 million pseudo expiring at the deadline, you can combine him with, say, Taurean Prince and be right in that ballpark where you're able to trade for Kyle Kuzma, for example. But anyway, Raj, if the guard rotation is D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, and Gabe Vincent, and then like a sprinkling in of like Max Christie, I'm a little concerned about the defense in that group with what as it pertains to shooting guards, but it's pretty good. I think it's a pretty good guard rotation.
Yeah, so I'm gonna spend my whole weekend watching like Taurean Prince and Gabe Vincent. You already traded him. You traded Taurean Prince in February already. You already packaged him with D'Lo for Kyle Kuzma. I'm so excited to go watch a bunch of Taurean Prince.
Are you gonna watch his Baylor press conference about rebounds, Raj? Are you gonna go back to that?
I do remember that. Yeah,
funny. When they lost to Yale, I think it was they lost to Yale. Was it Harvard? It was Harvard or Yale. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I think it was Yale.
Like explain
I think it was
how
Yale.
a rebound works.
I
think
we got more of those.
And then Aaron, you can confirm this as well. But I think they're going into the season with Max as a real rotation type piece, like they believe he can be.
I would expect Max to get rotation minutes. Yes.
Okay. I think Max is also the first Laker to play like his second summer league year in a very long time. Like I'm really excited about that. Like a player who like played an NBA season with the Lakers and then
Kuz and Josh and
Kuz didn't play year two summer league. Lonzo didn't play year 2 summer league either. They were too good for it.
Wait, I think
that was really long ago, by the way.
It was like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah. No,
Josh, remember Josh? Josh was like, "Fuck this, I'm playing," and everybody's like, "Don't play anymore." He's like, "No, I'm playing."
He was incredible.
He played like a game or two. Yeah.
By the way, pretty I thought that was a pretty good preview of the way that his career is going to go, and people in New York love him for having that dog in him. So, yeah, I loved that about Josh. Obviously, I said some different things about Julius Randle when he opted not to play, and I thought it was super weird that Austin Reeves opted not to play in his second year. But yeah, I'm really excited about Max Christie too. But
there's got to be more. There's got to be more guys.
They've traded a lot of young guys.
No,
too,
I mean Raj.
I really look forward to Summer League every year. That's one of my.
I trust Raj. I was gonna say I trust Raj on this, but
like I really love Summer League. Which is why I'm excited about Cole Swider as well, going into year 2 of his.
Mo Wagner. We didn't get a Mo Wagner repeat performance.
Don't believe so. THT obviously didn't play his second year Summer League. Wonder how that worked out.
Mac McClung played for like 19 Summer League teams. He probably played.
Dragan Bender is playing again this year.
No way.
Dragan Bender is
Dragan Bender? No, I don't know. But imagine.
No, the best one was like Cameron Payne. He was like in year 5 still playing. I was like, man, that's crazy. And then he
hold on.
Cam Payne went from being legitimately the worst NBA player I have ever seen to a playoff rotation player. Yeah. It's one of the crazier turnarounds that I have seen in quite some time. But Raj, it doesn't make you nervous at all.
Didn't Michael Beasley, I think, played last year in Summer League?
What? Michael Beasley?
Oh, no. I'm saying a player that like played.
I know what you're saying, but yeah. What I'm saying is.
Oh yeah.
Remember when like Ron Artest played in one too? That was kind of fun. But it makes me a little nervous that a second year player that we didn't see play very much last year is lined up as a rotation player at a position that the Lakers couldn't really guard shooting guards last year, like bigger shooting guards. They had
4th or 5th guard.
What?
Yeah.
He's the Lakers' 4th or 5th.
Well, no,
guard.
but I'm saying like it's still like collectively across those 4 or 5 guards, they still don't really have somebody that I'm comfortable guarding bigger shooting guards in, right? Like, and even Gabe Vincent gets after it, but he's like he's a smaller guy, so yeah, that makes me a little nervous. But like the guard rotation though, Raj, like how confident in it are you?
Yeah, I guess I'm more confident because of our forward position, if that makes sense. Like I think Vando, Rui, LeBron are going to take up a lot of those. I would assume we're going to get a backup center. To me, like for the guards, you just need good guys who can, chase over the top, good at the point of attack. And I think Austin fits that. Gabe Vincent fits that. We'll see where I think Max showed a lot of flashes in his rookie year, and you can see him bulked up. I think he was a really solid, just very fundamental defender. Like when I watched him play, I never thought he made mistakes. So I thought he was really solid in that aspect. We'll see his growth in Summer League, but that's obviously not going to be his role in the NBA. I think we'll be fine there. We'll see if Jalen Hood-Schifino makes a role. We were talking about Josh Hart, and kind of comes full circle. Portland traded for Cam Reddish with Josh Hart, who Cam Reddish is obviously a Laker now. So we'll see if he, I think he has a guarantee for this year and then a team option, but I'm sure like Cam Reddish is expecting to be in the rotation. He at least has the length. Like I feel like he has the attributes as a defender. He hasn't really shown much in the league, but yeah, like I'm fine with it. Maybe they can pick up one more. Taurean Prince as well. I think is a solid 6'7" guy who can kind of go back and forth between the 2 and the 3. I'm not worried about that. And then you have Vanderbilt as well, who's like your main throw him on the other team's on ball guy and like make his life hell. So I'm not too worried about that as long as the guards can chase over the top and ball pressure and all that. I think we'll be fine with Anthony Davis obviously behind them.
Here's where Aaron, I'm surprised you haven't given me a hard time over this yet.
Okay. This
is a heavy wing roster, and it's the kind of now I do.
What you wanted,
right? They do.
There's a whole. That's why I thought a whole bunch of 6'5" to 6'9" guys.
That's why I thought for sure that Aaron, you would have given me shit over it because
I'm gonna let you bury yourself, brother.
That's all I've been asking for a long time, and for the most part, I'm on board with it. Now, I wish they were more productive, like 6'5" to 6'8" guys or whatever. Cam Reddish has been kind of whatever over the course of his career. It looked better last year in Portland, but I think that was a matter of like everything being so depressing there that anybody who looked like they could walk and chew gum at the same time would look good. But I like the Prince signing. A 6'8" guy who can step out and willingly shoot threes really well, like 38% from 3-point range last year. That's really cool. Really happy to have Rui back and having him back. I think his number this year is going to start at like 15.
Oh yeah, right? 17 average. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to start it at 15 and then, you know, kind of go up from there. That's a good number for me. It's been funny to see people be like, man, that's a lot of Rui Hachimura. The number, like the cap is going to keep going up. We're like a year away from a giant multi-zillion dollar TV deal that's going to, like, I think the league was saying that they were hoping to have $50 billion in league salary per year as a result of this new TV deal.
So the most that the cap can go up in any year now is 10%. So kind of some smoothing is built in. It went almost up 10% this year, but yes, the cap will, as the new TV money comes in 2 years from now, the cap is going to continue to go up and up and up. So, which is why I say, and Anthony, you and I talked about this offline, I don't think the raw dollar numbers matter that much for this kind of thing. I think the better way to look at it is what percentage of the salary cap does each contract take up.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm also through the roof because there was a clip, and I know like off-season highlight stuff. This is like Ben Simmons' best time of the year. It's when he wins MVP every single year. Is in these highlight films.
One on none.
but I did really. It wasn't so much that Vando was making him, and it was nice to see that he was making him. It'd be terrible if he was like working all these shots and he was just like clank.
You wouldn't see it if he did.
Yeah. But the type of shots that he was working on, right? The quick reaction, dunker spot shots, you know, the floaters, the single dribble floater in the paint, stuff like that. Him knowing and understanding what he has to work on, I think is good news to me. There's nothing more frustrating than having a player who like clearly needs to work on something, and then you look at their off-season regiment and it's like off the dribble 25 footers and stuff. He's like, what are you doing? I remember for a while there with like Dwight, right? Dwight would when Dwight was still like in his prime, anytime I saw an off-season clip of Dwight, it's just like, can we just work on a pivot? Can we work on like, you know, finishing through contact, not getting stripped at the bottom of his shot and stuff like that? Can we work on that? And then you like look at Dwight's off-season stuff and it's 3-pointers off the dribble. And it's like, what are you doing? But in this case, Vando's
Dwight
working
and
on
JaVale used to get him up in pregame.
Yeah.
Just working on just getting threes up.
Yeah. But yeah, so Vando's working on the right stuff. Like I said earlier, I'm excited about Prince. I'm really excited about Rui. Obviously, they have a pretty good wing in LeBron. This aspect of the roster is what I'm the most excited about because, you know, it allows you to do all kinds of fun stuff defensively, get you out in transition. You are bigger. They are not going to look like a JV team against Denver this year because of the number of wings that they can throw out there at the same time. If Darvin is willing to use multiple wings in the same rotation, if he gets comfortable with using 3 wings in a lineup, that is something that I'm like really, really hoping to see this year. But Aaron, again, you can't get into specifics necessarily. But I am kind of surprised that wasn't where you wanted to start with, was giving me shit over being somewhat lukewarm about a roster that has this many wings.
No, because I want to let you, my stepdad is old country boy from Arkansas. And so he has all of this like old farm wisdom, right? And he has all these sayings, and he says the best way out of a hole is to stop digging. So I wanted to let you kind of, or he also says, if you give someone enough rope, they'll hang themselves. So I wanted to let you come to this conclusion on your own. I'll let you get there, and you got there.
All right.
Second one was dark. Wow. That was...
I like how like you hand somebody a rope, and the first thought is like, well, shit, I only have one thing I can use this
for. If you give someone enough rope, they'll hang themselves. Shout out 1940 Forest City, Arkansas.
It's like, yeah, I can tie some things together. I can fix some stuff here over there. Nope, I gotta kill myself.
Yeah,
you know.
Yep.
All right.
The best way out of a hole is to stop digging. So you've stopped digging you finally have stopped digging on the Lakers don't have enough wings.
I'm done. No, I am not complaining. I will not complain about the number of wings that
We're
they have.
not ready to let
Raj,
you climb out of the hole yet, but at least you've stopped digging.
Well, don't throw me a rope to climb out of the hole because then I might use it for the wrong fucking thing.
I need a ladder immediately. No rope.
You throw me a rope to get it? No, not for that. No, hold on.
I do not want a rope. Anything but a rope.
How excited are you about the wings, Raj?
Oh, I'm super excited. And like my only thing with the Vanderbilt thing, because I've seen that as well with the video of him working on stuff. I'm not comparing the two players, obviously, so don't call me crazy, but like I'm one of the few proponents that Cole Swider is still an NBA player. But like my pushback is that, hey, Cole Swider needs to defend. My point is, like, if Cole Swider could defend, he's not on the Lakers, right? A 6'9" guy who could shoot and defend. Like, to me, Vanderbilt is like a specialist defender, Swiss Army knife. I think he has some ball handling, but I don't expect him to come next year with like a 3-point shot, like a corner three, which would be nice. Like, I'd love a corner three from Vanderbilt that takes his value from where he's at to $4 million to like a $12-13 million player. But no, I'm excited. I think we have a lot of wings that do different stuff. Rui Hachimura's ability to, like, I believe, grow in this team as kind of an ISO ball scorer who can also hit, catch, and shoot threes. We were talking about Gabe Vincent shooting. Let's see if Rui's kind of playoff shooting was real at like the 42% or whatever that he shot in a few of the series. And then, obviously Vanderbilt I spoke about, Taurean Prince on the wing, Max Christie, I'm hoping is a legit guy next year. I think, we have a lot of guys, Jalen Hood-Schifino, who they drafted, who's 6'6", I'm still, excited about as a guy who's a point of attack defender. Well, I feel like Aaron and Anthony, they kind of
a wing.
Yes. Well, they spoke about him as like a guy that, I think in the press conference, like as a guy they envisioned playing next to Austin. Like that was part of the draft, like reasoning to draft him. So see if he plays, but I think we have a lot of really.
No, go ahead. Finish. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say no, like we have a lot of guys with a lot of length and 6'10" wingspans. Even the guy in the second round, Maxwell Lewis, I believe, has like a 7'2" standing reach or something. So, yeah,
wingspan. Maybe I hope his standing reach is bigger than 6.
Oh no, wingspan. Sorry,
I think mine is higher than that.
Yeah, wingspan. Yes. But yeah, like I think at least we have a lot of guys that are from last year where it was like Lonnie Walker, Patrick Beverley, Dennis Schroeder, even Russell Westbrook within that group. I feel like we've really switched that out to long, lanky wings who can run around. So very different roster than we had.
Last thing, because I got to go do, we're going to do a little all access here in a minute. So last thing for me, but I would also say that I think there is definitely a pathway. And I do think the Lakers need to and will add another rotation center, just like a traditional big guy. But I think there is also a pathway. And I do think that, and I have said this before, I do think Tristan Thompson probably is on this roster again next year. But I do think there is a path for Colin Castleton to at least get a look to see if, as a two-way guy, at least get a look and see if he can be an NBA rotation player. He's a big boy, like a real 6'11", has some offensive skill, can put it on the deck a little bit. The shot, the shot looks good. He didn't shoot it much in college, but I wouldn't call him a stretch big yet, but I think that is on the table for him. A good shot blocker and can really do some things out of the pick and roll as a screener, can handle the ball a little bit, is a very capable passer for somebody that is his size. So I think there is a pathway for him. Now, do I think he's ready to just walk in and be the backup center to AD? No. But I do think like a third big, to try to take some of that load off of LeBron playing at center as much as he has had to in the past. I do think there is a pathway for Castleton to get, like, I think he's a DNP most nights, but, could he play once every 3 games? Can he give you 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, once every 2 or 3 games? I think that is on the table and in the cards too.
I hope they can do better than Thompson as the backup center. I didn't
say he's going to be the backup center. I said I think he has a roster spot.
Well, they only have like 2 or 3 left.
I said what I said. How many more guards and wings do you want?
I guess that's fair. I thought and look, they could still, I guess, technically sign 2 bigs. One more, productive big. Another.
But sorry to interrupt you. But also remember, there are 3 two-way spots in the new CBA. There are 3 two-way spots this year.
Yep. And then they can still have an open roster. I just know that Rob Pelinka really likes having an open roster spot heading into the year, which they can still do. To your point, if Castleton is kept at a 2-way contract, I had thought previously that maybe Castleton would be elevated, and there's still time potentially to make that decision over the course of but no, all right, not happening. Aaron is shaking his head.
No, I think he will play as a two-way guy. But there's no reason until you run out of two-way eligibility. There's no reason to elevate him yet.
Well, if you have that's not how they felt about Austin. But if they have two,
the roster
bigs,
Austin was jumping into was very different than this roster.
Yeah. We won't mention why. All right, let's wrap up here. And actually, what I want to do, I want to throw. We have 300 people in here right now.
Okay.
Like Aaron mentioned, he's going to hop onto playback here. I do playback with these guys. Raj is obviously one of the main hosts and co-hosts of playback. Aaron threw the whole damn thing together. It's a really cool project. We can consider this a two-parter, and we can go straight from here into that stuff.
Let's do it.
For those of you who want more Lakers talk. So I actually think I'm going to wrap it up here so that we can do exactly that. So there is plenty of ground that we didn't cover so far in this conversation that I'm going to leave for that one. So, Aaron, you want to drop what's the link? I'm going to put it in the comments.
Yeah, it's playback.tv/all access Lakers. So come and hang out with us. It'll be the three of us, and Shub is going to hang out, and there can always be some special guests, and you never know. But playback.tv/all access Lakers.
All right, so that link is right there in the chat. Thank you guys a ton for hopping on. Aaron, thank you I know how busy you are. Raj, you are always a gamer, and I had texted you earlier, hey, do you want to come and do this? And you were like, I don't know if I'll be able to get home until, I think you said 8 p.m. or whatever it was. You were home by 7:45 sharp, and I always appreciate that. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in here. This is going to be up on the pod feed. Obviously, subscribe here, and you can check out all of the video that will be on the pod as well. And we will talk to you guys next time.